Welcome to the Monarch Football Show with Coach CJ Goss. I'm your host, John Donnelly. The Monarchs had their best scoring output of the season this past Saturday with a 63-35 victory over the Pride of Greensboro College. They improved to a 2-1 record in Conference USA South and a 3-2 record overall. Here to talk about the game and more is Coach Goss. Coach Goss, welcome back. Good to see you again. Now, you come off 2 weeks ago a tough overtime loss to Christopher Newport, a double overtime loss. Then you have the bye week. What did you say to the guys to prepare them for this game coming out of the bye?
The first thing we had to do coming out the Christopher Newport double overtime loss was heal. I think that it was a very difficult game. It was a very physical game, and we were bumped and bruised, and Christopher Newport did a great job. My hat's off to him. But going into the bye week, your focus is to heal your bodies, to make the necessary changes, the little tweaks that you need through the season, to make a second half of the season run. And going into the Greensboro College game, I think we had a very good game plan. But again, you have 2 weeks to prepare for one team. Sometimes too much it can be a bad thing. And so, the first part of our bye week is we focused on just getting back to fundamentals. We didn't, no way did we focus on Greensboro College for 2 weeks. That during our bye week, we focused on the Monarchs, and we got back to a lot of the little details, a lot of the fundamentals, a lot of the fixable things, the mistakes we made during the Christopher Newport game. And, going into last week, now we prepared for Greensboro College. I think that we had an effective game plan. I think that, our guys embraced going into Greensboro College with a new focus, and I think that's what the bye week gave us. Is it gave us a chance to kind of go back and bring up our physicality and take back some of the things that define the program. And then going into the Greensboro game, we took what we did during the bye week and we applied it directly to the scheme that we went into the Greensboro College game. And I think that schematically we had a good game plan, offensively, defensively. Special teams, I think, played a big part, and we saw that in the second half.
Right.
And so, the big thing was, the fundamental fixes, the program fixes, and then focusing on Greensboro, and then leading into the Greensboro game. I'm very pleased. I'm pleased. It's a big victory. Greensboro College is a good football team.
Yes.
And they had skilled guys everywhere. They were very, very dangerous. They have big playability. And going into the Greensboro College game, I told the team that the difference was going to be the lines. It was going to be the O-line versus the Greensboro D-line, and our defensive line versus the Greensboro offensive line. And I thought that we were very evenly matched going into that game. I thought that they have a good quarterback, we have a good quarterback. They have a good running back, we have a good running back. They have a whole slew of different weapons at wide receiver. We have the same defensively. Both teams have struggled a little bit, and I don't deny that fact. And so going in, our defensive line played a pretty good game. I think they did what they had to do. We did a couple of schematic things to take away some of their top stuff, and then our offensive line played lights out. I think they made effective blocks. They stayed attached. They did all the detailed things. Obviously there's things to learn from every game, but I think our lines won the Greensboro College game, and that was the difference. And that's where you saw the points, and that's where you saw us play a little bit better, as I think we dominated both lines.
Right. Speaking of which, the victory obviously was a little bit lopsided in the score, but when you look at some of the stats, Greensboro College actually had a little bit over 490 yards of offense. You had 474. So obviously you played a very efficient game on both sides of the ball. Which side of the ball did you have an eye on that you thought probably had a better day, or which side would you improve on based on what you saw?
Well, I think that it's two-part. The first part is that I knew our offense was having success, and statistically, the numbers to me are meaningless. I know there's a lot of critics out there that are going to look at the breakdown of the numbers. They're going to do comparative scoring. And week in and week out in the USA South Conference, what you're dealing with is it's a new game. It's a new battle every week, and doesn't matter what you've done up to that point. I think statistically speaking, if I was focused on statistics, I probably would not have played as many young players as I did. I think, to me, the Monarch football program is exactly that. It's about building a program. So I think that there was a point where we did jump a little bit of a lead, and we started to rotate some different players. Right. I think in building a program, you're either about statistics. I mean, you have a 21, 28-point lead. you know, you can add on to your statistics and work on that so people recognize you, or you can build a program. To me, you know, playing those freshmen, you know, it was a big deal. You know, they got a taste of varsity, you know, speed, and they got a chance to play. And, you know, with that, you live and die by that because, you know, you're going to give up some yards defensively. I think, you know, on paper, it certainly didn't help us. But I think that we saw some guys step up, and I'm overly impressed with some of the young guys that played and some of the things that they did. And I saw some things that are going to take us through, you know, the last half of the season. I'm excited about it. But, you know, comparatively speaking on paper, you know, again, you're either all about the statistics and how you look, or you're about building a program. To me, Saturday was about building a program when we hopped a little bit of a lead, and I don't regret that, and I'm really proud of the way our young guys played, and it was a little bit more bittersweet for those young guys to be able to celebrate that victory, you know, having a piece and having their hand in that game. It was an exciting thing. The statistics get thrown out at that point when everybody's singing that fight song and everybody played for something on Saturday.
That's correct. But you did have two young guys who did add to the stat sheet. Noah Schuler, he's a sophomore, and he tied the record with 4 rushing touchdowns. And then you had Brandon Boyd on the other side who had 2 interceptions. He's a freshman, I believe, and Noah's a sophomore. So when you talk about contributing, the young guys contributing and them adding to the program, that's an example of that. What caused you to play those 2 players and stick with them as long as you did during the course of the game?
Well, Noah Schuler, you know, is you know, between him and John Papillon, those 2 both are kind of the two-headed monster. Mm-hmm. They both get solid time. Noah Schuler, just being just a sophomore, he's got a very, very bright future, as do a lot of those. We have a whole slew of young running backs, and you know, we go deep at the running back position. It's not just those 2. Mm-hmm. On the other side of it, Brandon Boyd, a backup, you know, our starter goes down with a head, you know, a little bit of a head bang, and so in our defense, the next guy steps up. It was Brandon Boyd. You know, my confidence was fully in him, and what happened was he turns around, gets 2 interceptions, making plays everywhere. You know, stepped up like he's been there before, and I think that's a tribute to, you know, the coaching and what our coaches have done, you know, growing our young guys up. Again, there are many programs out there that, you know, look at, you know, well, let's focus on just this one guy and we'll give the second guy some reps. At one point, you know, Brandon Boyd was a JV football player, and it kind of gives, from a program standpoint, it gives, you know, it shows you what this program's about. Brandon Boyd, a week before that, was playing in a JV game. And, you know, next thing you know, he goes from, you know, playing a good JV game to moving up to varsity to becoming a full-time guy, and now he's got 2 interceptions. And so, you know, it's a successful story, but it just goes to show about the program. Mm-hmm. We are loaded with freshman and sophomore talent, and you know, it's a tribute to the coaches. It's a tribute to the great recruiting that we've had and my unbelievable staff that we have here, but we're still very young. I think sometimes it's very easy to focus on the Pat Jacobs and the Max Reebers and the BJ Minners, but sometimes we lose sight of, you know, this young class that's coming up, and these guys are gaining positive momentum, and it's really, you know, it's really exciting for the future. I think that, you know, again, we're trying to build a program here, and I think that Saturday defined what building a program really was, and then seeing some of these young guys step up and put up unbelievable, you know, conference high numbers. You know, it's fun to work alongside of them and to see them have such success.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, once again, congratulations to you and your team on the victory. We're going to talk a little bit about that coming up and see some of the stats and highlights when we come back.
My name is BJ Mentor. My major is organizational communication, and I have a minor in leadership studies. I have a very strong faith, and I knew no matter where I went, I knew I was going to be successful because I knew who I am as a leader, as a person, and who I want to be in the future. When you're here to graduate and earn a career, you want to set yourself up and you want to set yourself apart from other people so you can have a long-lasting career that's going to help you in your lifetime. I came in with an open mind, trying to figure out where I want to be in my life, how I want to affect other people's lives, and what legacy I want to leave. I became the president of my own committee, which I never thought I would do, And that's how you make a strong institution, is the people that are in the school. And that's why I like Methodist in the first place, because I made good connections with the faculty and staff. I love our coaching staff. The friendships I made here, they will last for a lifetime.
Now, Coach, you spotted them the first 7 points, followed by 3 and outs for both sides. Then you responded with a 10-play, 40-yard drive, ending in a Noah Schuler touchdown.
It's a great way for our offense to respond. Obviously they took the ball first and marched down, and we answered their first touchdown, which I think helped us.
And Noah Schuler gets his second touchdown with 4 minutes left in the first half, and that made the score 14-7.
Noah Schuler's just a truck. I mean, he had a great day, and what he did was he used his size and his speed and used it, to his advantage to get a couple scores on the day.
Now, Greensboro comes back and responds with a touchdown of their own, and they capped off a 74-yard drive, and they tied the score 14-14.
Greensboro comes back with a touchdown, and, the history says that, this game's usually a shootout. Fortunately for us, we made some adjustments, and we prevented it from turning into a shootout.
Right. Now, the Monarchs start off the second quarter right, and Noah gets his third rushing touchdown, and you guys take the lead 21-14. What did you see in the defense that let you know that the running game was going to be effective at that point?
Well, I think they started to second-guess themselves. I think, between John Papillon and Noah Schuler, they were running through the tackle, their arm tackles, and I think that the defense started to get beat up and started to second-guess their tackling ability for Greensboro College.
Now, this is the first of 4 scoring possessions for the Monarchs in the second quarter, and after Noah Schuler scores, John Papillon scampers for a 35-yard touchdown, and Max Reber and Pat Jacobs connect twice, making the score 42-14. Coach, your offense was playing very efficiently at this point. What was going through your mind in the game?
I think that, as they started to get on the same page, the offense obviously is very, very potent. And, I think that the light bulb went off, and I think we saw some loopholes in where they were defensively, and we certainly took advantage of it, and the game got out of hand in a hurry.
At this point in the game, you go into halftime, as you mentioned. What adjustments were you looking to make?
Well, offensively, I want them to keep going. We were going to make a commitment to, chew up a little bit of clock, and then defensively, we were going to eliminate the big play, and our adjustment really was keep everything in front of us and take their top plays away, and I think we did a pretty good job.
We are the Monarchs!
And welcome back to the Monarch Football Show. Right now, we're going to get into our donor segment. This week's donors are Loretta and Walt Swing. Professor Walt Swing came aboard Methodist in 1980 as an accounting professor and finished out his tenure as an assistant dean. His wife Loretta worked in the accounting office from 1981 and served in that role for 15 years. Their contributions to the university have continued to help us prosper and grow. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about the Swings?
Well, I had the opportunity to meet Loretta and Walt, obviously at the president's house, as I always do, and that's when I get a chance to greet them. Familiar faces around the campus of Methodist University, such huge athletic supporters, and we're not just talking football. We're talking about a multitude of different sports, very, very active. This kind of justifies what a former professor and former employee is here at Methodist University. They're still really active in the community and really active in the Methodist community, and that's really exciting to watch. Now, when I had the opportunity to sit down, with Loretta and Walt, the first thing that Walt wanted to talk about was some football. He wanted to talk about the overtime win. Yeah, he wanted to talk about the overtime win against, Huntington, and some of the stuff that had happened in the CNU game and my outlook, and so I immediately turned the tables. I said, well, it's your day, so what do you want to do on defense? We want to start blitzing, offensively. What would you like to do? He said, all right, well, I want to run some tempo. I said, okay, well, this guy's been to some games here. He knows what we're all about. And the beauty of the day was that they were truly there as football fans, obviously, I couldn't be happier that we had the opportunity to have success on their day and big success. But the fact that, they were such good football fans and they knew the ins and the outs and they knew about Max Reber, and, that's exciting to me because, it just shows that they take an active role in the community. They follow us even when we're on the road. And I couldn't think of two better people to have, a day in their honor. And I'm just happy to be, the head football coach on a day where we can have such success just like that, for them to, finish out their day the right way.
Absolutely. And we'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank Mr. and Mrs. Swing for their contributions to Methodist University. Also, it's worth noting that Mr. Swing helped to add the accounting major to Methodist University, so we appreciate that. Everybody that's an accounting major also appreciates that. And we hope that you thoroughly enjoyed your day because we enjoyed you. You come out in the second half, and after a couple of stalled possessions by both teams, the Monarchs get a spark in their special teams with a 59-yard punt return by DJ Payne. And it didn't go for a touchdown, but it was spotted on the 1-yard line. Talk a little bit about that because it looked like it was a bad spot at that point.
That was a turning point in the game. I think that was a point where Greensboro College started to second guess themselves. That punt return within itself was, kind of a dagger, and I could see it on that Greensboro team. Again, I mean, they were putting up a good fight, but we bring it down to the 1-yard line, and then one play later we punch it in, which I've been on that side, and it's a little disheartening.
And that punching you're talking about was a 1-yard run by John Papillon, and that made the score 49-21.
At this point, we're momentum's on our side. We're starting to get a pretty big lead, and that kind of evolves your game plan. This is the time where we also get a chance to put in some of our younger players and start to make some substitutions and test some of these guys.
Yep. And one of the key substitutions you made was Brandon Boyd. And immediately it pays dividends. He gets an interception, and Methodist would get the ball back. And Max Reber would have another miscue in the next possession for Methodist, finding a Greensboro defender for his second interception of the day. However, Greensboro wouldn't hold on to the ball for long, throwing an interception to Brandon Boyd on the next play, giving him 2 for the game.
Brandon Boyd, a guy stepping up, freshman. And, made 2 big plays. And, again, I mean, this is coming off a turnover. We turn the ball over. A couple, unfamiliar things happen to us. And, Brandon Boyd steps up. And, again, it was good to see on the day.
All right. And Brandon gets the ball back for you guys. And Noah gets his 4th touchdown, tying the school record for rushing touchdowns, putting Methodist up 56-28 going into the 4th quarter. And late in the 4th quarter, Greensboro scores, making it 35-56. Methodist would follow it up with their 9th and final touchdown, a 15-yard pass to Justin Martin, bringing the final score to 63-35.
39.
And welcome back. This is our Inside the Playbook segment with Coach Goss. And this week we have 2 plays for you, 1 offense, 1 defense. We're going to start off with the offensive play. This one is a 41-yard touchdown reception by senior Pat Jacobs. And, Coach, talk to us a little bit about this play. I think this one is real special to you. Explain this one for us.
Well, it was 4th down, and what happened was, sometimes on 4th down we have the option in certain yard lines that, Max Reber can turn, and what he can do is he can get a direct snap and he can kick it, and he can punt the ball on 4th down, which, a lot of times they don't have, returners back there, and what we do is we send our 3 receivers up, to go in, down the ball inside, for a good field position, put our defense in a good position.
Right.
But what happened was Greensboro College, they put a returner back there. Okay, so they had their base defense in, and what happened was they had a returner that was really far back there. And fortunately for me, we saw that, we held, and at that point we didn't have something that was ready to go. But what I did was I talked to our offensive coordinator Kevin Williams, and I said, Kevin, call a play. So we held them up and we called a play. About the time that we we called the play. What happened was we brought our tailback to the other side over here, and right about that time that Greensboro College saw that we were about to run a play, they saw, they're about to run a play, so they took their returner down. By that time, it was too late, and all we did was we ran a regular play where we read the backside, and all we're doing is just running the football, okay? And we were just looking for that first down. But at the time, the guy that we were supposed to read was still at too much of depth. So what we did is, it's a run fake, and all we did is we slipped Pat Jacobs right through the backside. Now, with the run fake, the whole defense, as usual, gets flowing one way.
Right.
And what happened was Pat, based on the alignment of the returner, the now safety that was coming down, slipped and made the right, took the right angle. And all Max did was he threw it and slipped it right behind that safety. And the next is history, leading to a touchdown. Now, certainly, this certainly isn't something that we designed.
Okay.
It's something we have in our back pocket. But, this just goes to show you a senior in Max Reber and a senior in Pat Jacobs being able to adapt on the fly and to make a big play when their number was called. And, it led to a touchdown on this particular play.
Absolutely. We have our second of the two plays. This is our defensive play. It's an interception by freshman Brandon Boyd. Now, Coach, explain to us what happened on this play.
This is a play that we practiced countless times, and all Greensboro College did is they ran a sprint out pass. And what we mean by sprint out pass is the quarterback is going to sprint to one side of the field, and all they're going to do is they're going to move what they call their pocket, and they're going to slide over and they're going to move everything. Well, in most sprint out concepts, what happens is the offense tries to cut the field off and get the quarterback to where it's easy throws and easy catches. And what they're doing is they're bringing everybody over to one side of the field. Okay. Now, what happened was Greensboro College has scored a multitude of times on doing what they call and what we call the throwback.
Right.
And what they do is they run everybody to one side, and then what they try and do is they try and slip one of their wide receivers to go against the grain with everybody flowing so that they can get out leveraged, and what they're doing is looking to throw that back. Well, we practiced this a multitude of times, and every time we got sprint out, they've scored countless times on this. What happened was Brandon Boyd, who's playing our safety here, he's seeing that they're sprinting out. The minute that they cut the field down, what Brandon does is he's obviously trying to get active on the run to make sure that we're cutting the field off, but he sees that they're running the post here. And obviously his job is he's going to take away any kind of curl route, and he's going to roll to the post. And what happens is he sees that sprint out, and what he does is, as he sees that post happening as they cut the field down, what he's going to do is he's going to roll to that post, and he undercuts this post right here. So what happens is the quarterback gets outside of the pocket, and their quarterback does a good job with this throwback. And what happens is he sets his feet, and he throws that thing all the way back, looking for everybody to slip. And what happens is Brandon Boyd just undercuts that pass deep in our territory, and what he does is he picks that thing off, executing a perfect system. We practiced it countless times. This was an emphasis by me and the defensive staff, and this just goes to show you that any guy can step in for our DB coaches, Zach Hufford and Derek Williams, and they did a good job at preparing Brandon for stepping in, and just like we did in practice, it's a great thing to watch your practice carry over and to execute exactly the way you practiced it.
Absolutely. Great job by both Brandon and Pat this week. And we'll be back to wrap things up.
My name is Patrick Jacobs. I'm a double major here at Methodist University with Spanish and athletic training. I also play football. It's brotherhood in every sense of the word. We're there for each other no matter what, and the special thing is the chemistry we have off of the field as well as on the field, which I think is a huge factor as to why we won the conference championship last year. The general medicine rotation I'm in now is sort of a different experience because it's for people who can't really afford health care. It's the care clinic. My goals when I was studying abroad were to, one, increase my fluency in the language, and two, develop a better understanding of the Spanish culture. I wanted to continue my studies in Spanish, and it ended up being a great decision.
Welcome back to the Monarch Football Show, and we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Before we preview next week's game against LaGrange College, Coach, any final thoughts on the victory over Greensboro?
Well, I'm happy, to walk away with a win. I was happy for the fans. Obviously, I was happy for the entire day. Overall, it was a great day. I guess every coach can say that, with a win. But I think that we got some confidence back that we needed. And, the psyche of a college football program, especially with the youth that we have, is very, very important as you move forward. And, this was a very big game as far as building our confidence and knowing what we're capable of when we're playing the right way. And we have all 11 guys, doing everything in detail the right way. And, I think our practices are starting to carry over into the game situation. I think that showed against Greensboro, and that's certainly something that you can work from. I think that, sometimes it's hard to see the rewards, when you don't win a game. And so here we were coming off double overtime loss. We're back on track in regards to Greensboro College and, where we stand. And it was really good to get that win under our belt and to win in the fashion that we won, against a good football team like that.
All right. And just a quick preview on LaGrange College, another tough conference game in USA South Conference. Talk to us a little bit about that and what we can expect from them and you.
This is going to be a very, very difficult game.
Okay.
It's going to be a difficult game because we have to travel all the way down to LaGrange, Georgia. Mm-hmm. We have to go down there on their homecoming. They have a very good quarterback. They have very good players all over the place, and they're due. They're on paper. They are very, very. I have the utmost respect, obviously, for their coaching staff. They run a very efficient system, but they're a good football program, and I think that this is one of those games where you're getting them at the worst possible time you can play them. You're going down there. It's a long trip.
Right.
You're going down there on homecoming. They're very, very dangerous, and so we need to be prepared. And I think it's my job and my staff's job to prepare them for that type of game. Now, with that being said, we go in and we're at a very dangerous time right now. We're sitting in a position that, we're atop the conference. Christopher Newport goes down to Huntington College and loses.
Right.
Huntington, a team that we have beaten. Mm-hmm. Christopher Newport is a team that beat us. Right. And now we're in a three-way race, and so every game counts. With a young football program, it's very easy to lose focus on, one game at a time. And, you start to look at the big picture. We're coming off a win against Greensboro College. And, that's scary. That's scary stuff. So our job is to take it, a lot of college coaches out there, they're going to talk about, let's take it one game at a time. We're going to take it one day at a time. We're going to take it 1 hour at a time. and so, it's one little step in front of the other, and we're not going to lose sight by looking at the big picture.
Right.
We're not going to, we're not going to look too far ahead. We're not going to look at practice ahead. We're just going to take care of business in detail, and that's the plan going in. And I think that our guys are prepared for that, and we sit in a good position. I was telling the guys in our most recent practice, very few teams get the opportunity to still have a chance as you get further and further into the season. The fortunate part for the Monarchs is that, with every step, every day that we have victory, every game that we win, every practice we win, every hour we win here on campus, we're one step closer to still having that chance. And that window can close in a hurry if you look too far ahead. And so I think we're going to take it one step at a time. And I'm excited to be where we are in the conference. We're sitting at 2 losses. I think we played, we lost to 2 very good teams. I think we've beaten some pretty good teams in there. And I'm hoping that, our guys, react the way that I would expect them to, and that we have the ability to, win this thing out, one day at a time. And, I'm excited at what lies ahead. And, it's, again, we said before we even started this season, anything can happen in this conference. And already we're only a couple games into conference play, and everything has already every possible scenario has already played itself out. So we're going to focus on LaGrange College and put together a great game plan and get our focus on, and go down, and hopefully we can come away successful.
This has been a Monarch Football Show with Coach C.J. Goss. I'm your host, John Donnelly. Have a good evening.
It's time to stand for Methodist. We'll show them all who is the best. We'll face that college team today. We'll beat them while it's set on the way. We'll fight for every yard. We'll dance and get that ladder on. We'll drive